Max Verstappen is the ultimate racing driver. From going toe to toe against one of Formula One's greatest and still coming out on top, from dominating an entire season where he won almost every single race and winning a world championship in an inferior car, he has done it all. On top of that, the FIA hates him, the British media hates him, hashtag Team LH has PTSD because of him. So, apart from his legendary skills, what makes Max Verstappen the dominant champion that he is? What makes him the ultimate championship winning machine or the race winning machine, however you want to put it? Actually, there are four reasons, with the first one being Jos Verstappen. A lot of people across the internet give Jos a lot of shit for raising Max the way he did. But if you think about it, he was not just raising a son, he was raising one of the greatest of the sport. He was not just raising a Formula One champion, he was raising someone who will dominate their field. I mean, Max is only 27 years of age, four world titles. It's very rare when we hear these two numbers together in one sentence, and Jos Verstappen has made this happen. We all know the petrol station story, right? So Max was trying, like in his starting days, Max was attempting an ambitious overtake, which didn't quite work out, and he ended up retiring from the race. On the way back home, Jos Verstappen dropped Max at a petrol station, and he went along. And after a few moments, Max's mom came in and picked him up. A lot of people miss out that part of the story. Anyway, what this did was it forced Max to analyze the race, to dig deep and think what he could have done differently in that scenario. And because of that, his ability to read races, his ability to learn, his ability to implement things quickly is second to none. I'll give you two amazing examples. The first one is from his masterclass in 2024 Interlagos Grand Prix. In the first safety car restart, Esteban Ocon got the better of him and he retained the lead. And he learned what he need to do next if such an opportunity presents itself once again. And it did. And in the second safety car restart, he nailed it. He found the inside line and he made the overtake. He made the overtake stick. Another example is, it's actually from two races. First is 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and then the most recent one, 2024 Qatar Grand Prix. So in 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, before the last lap shootout, Max Verstappen was inching very close to Lewis Hamilton. And this allowed him to get a better read off of Lewis and subsequently make the overtake easy in the following few moments. Now, Max understood that it could also happen to him. So he started thinking of an antidote to that move, which he executed in the 2024 Qatar Grand Prix. So in the safety car restart, Max Verstappen is leading the race, leading the pack, and behind him is Lando Norris in a faster car in the McLaren. And Max was weaving around the track quite aggressively, if I may add. And a lot of people may look at it and say that he's just doing to warm up his tires, which may be true. But I think the bigger reason was to occupy the majority of the track with his weaving around to prevent Norris from inching up close to him and also getting the read on Max when the safety car ends. Again, these two examples, it shows how great Max is in learning quickly, not just from his mistakes, but also from the mistakes of others. And he thinks and he simulates scenarios in his head. And it's primarily goes back to Jos Verstappen. So it's time we all put our differences aside in terms of parenting advice and give Jos Verstappen all the respect he deserves. Because he created Max, like the champion, I mean. And Max also said that in his interview with Lawrence Barredo, shortly after winning his fourth world title in Las Vegas this year. He was talking how like all of the difficult things his father put him through when he was a kid, since his scouting days, how all of those little moments, how all of those lessons contributed him to becoming the world champion that he is. The second reason that makes Max Verstappen the ultimate racing driver is actually sim racing. Now, this may sound a little bit weird to a lot of non F1 fans or even non motorsport fans, but when you are in a virtual environment, which is getting pretty close to reality, you can try a lot of things. You can try different racing lines, you can try different braking techniques, you can position your car in various parts of the track when attacking or defending and see how that works out. You can play around with car setup with basically no risks. And it's not just Max who has been benefiting from sim racing. It's also the upcoming Formula One driver from Brazil, Gabriel Bartoletto. This guy, he revealed it in the F1 Nations podcast that he spends most of his time on the simulator if he's not racing, and it helps him position the car perfectly, play a little bit around with the setup and all. And look, I don't think Max needs it that much, considering how much experience he has on track and how good he already is. But it definitely helps. It's a safe environment where you can experiment, and we have seen this many, many times in the history of Max Verstappen's driving career, that he always takes unconventional racing lines. He finds grip in places where other people don't. Look, it obviously goes to his skills, but sim racing kind of helps. And it's not just Max Verstappen from Formula One who benefits from gaming, right? Former UFC featherweight champion Max Holloway also learned a lot of combinations from the UFC video game. Like, he would try different combinations on his controller, basically button mashing, and he will attempt to do those same moves in the octagon. So that's another Max great at his field, learning from gaming. The third thing that makes Max Verstappen the ultimate racing driver is a supportive team around him. Look, most dominant Formula One world champions get special treatment from their teams. The car is developed around them. When they give some feedback, it is met with more seriousness, if that makes sense. All of those things are also true with Max Verstappen, but there's also another weird thing, which is about the second Red Bull seat. The purpose of the second Red Bull seat is to help Max Verstappen secure these championships and help the team win the constructors championship. That's basically is the role of the number two Red Bull racing driver. Sergio Perez was onboarded into the Red Bull family for that purpose only. But when you're in a dominant car which is capable of winning championships, he also wanted to win a championship because you are a Formula One driver, right? And when he realized eventually that he is not as skilled as Max Verstappen, he kind of imploded from within, which is what happens to most of the drivers in that second Red Bull seat. They just can't accept the truth that they're not as good as Max Verstappen. And even in a championship winning car, it's very hard for them to, replicate similar level of performance, which is another story in itself. But the purpose of the second Red Bull seat is to help Max win championships and help Red Bulls secure the Constructors' Championship by scoring decent points every weekend. And also, you have seen this, like Liam Lawson fights very hard against Sergio Perez, but doesn't do it that much against Max Verstappen. Like, if you look at Interlagos 2024, the race in the rain, Liam Lawson was fighting tooth and nail against Sergio Perez throughout the entire race. But when Max was going to the field and he was overtaking Liam, he didn't really defend that hard. If you remember it correctly, he kind of just let him by. I mean, he was side by side against Max for a couple of corners, but then he kind of let him go. The broader point I'm making here is, as long as Max Verstappen is in Red Bull, the number two driver will never be a championship contender. Obviously, there is the skill difference because, Max is head and shoulders above everybody else. But also there's the team prioritization. Helmut Marko will execute literally anyone in the Red Bull family if they piss off Max. That's how good he is. And he has earned it, is all I want to say. The fourth and final reason why Max Verstappen is the ultimate Formula One driver and the race-winning machine that he is because of his intimidating aura. I was gonna say championship winning mindset, but many drivers have, I mean, especially all champions have championship winning mindset. So what makes Max Verstappen different is that he is willing to do whatever it takes to win races and secure championships. He is willing to go into the gray area, comfortably operate in the gray area, make it look like a mistake, and force a mistake out of his opponents. That's one of the biggest advantages that Max has and others don't. And going back to the learning quickly point that I made earlier about Jos Verstappen's training methodologies, the intimidating aura also comes from that. So if you look at 2021 Bahrain Grand Prix, Max Verstappen was chasing Lewis all the way to the checkered flag, and at one point he actually overtook Lewis, but he did it outside the track. Lewis was defending hard and he was taking the majority of the track, which pushed Max Verstappen outside the track, and he overtook and took the place. Few moments later, obviously, he conceded the place. Max remembered that, and he applied the same thing in 2024 Austin Grand Prix against Lando Norris. So again, like, he knows what needs to be done, and he also pushed Lando Norris wide here and there in Mexico. A little bit of dirty driving, and he also admitted it in the interview with Lawrence Barretto after winning his 4th world title. He said that I'm willing to do whatever the fuck it takes to win races and secure world championships. I am never out of control on track. I'm fully aware of what's going on within the cockpit, outside the car, and I know where to place the car perfectly to maximize the results of the day. And he does it. So if you're a driver who's defending against Max, or if you're a driver who's attempting an overtake on Max, you better be ready for these things. And it kind of is a psychological blow, because Max is willing to get into a crash. You may not be. And this is one of the reasons why Max can just shove the car through openings where most people will not even go. That came out wrong. This is one of the reasons why Max Verstappen overtakes so easily, because people don't want to fight him this wheel-to-wheel battle because of his energy. Like, his presence on the track is more than enough to instill fear in the hearts of his opponents. And I think 2025 is going to be the same. And these 4 reasons make Max Verstappen the ultimate racing driver, on top of his phenomenal talents. Like, I don't really want to take anything away from him and his achievements by saying that these other auxiliary things helped him become the championship winning machine that he is. Obviously, he's extremely talented, generational talent. And these 4 additional things, some of which he has cultivated as he was growing through the race, but all of them combined makes Max Verstappen absolutely unbeatable. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.